Television Dude here, and this is my reply to Atarileaf's your collecting goals or collection goals for 2011. Now this is barring whether I'll have any money next year or not. Because if next year is as bad or worse than this year financially, I might not be able to get much off any of these lists at all, period. At all, ever. But I'm going to do this huge list anyway. This is my Intellivision want list. Of the original 125 Intellivision games released, there's only 33 I have left remaining. That's loose, of course. Bream Rider, Championship Tennis, Commando, Congo Bongo, Defender, Dig Dug, Donkey Kong Jr., Fathom, Ice Track, Ladybug, Learning Fun 1 and 2, Melody Blaster, Mount Madness Super Pro Skiing, Pole Position, Popeye River Raid Sewer Sam, Spiker Super Pro Volleyball, Stadium, Mud Buggies, Super Cobra, Super Pro Decathlon, Electric Company Math Fun, a game I own but it's fried. That's the one that fried my Intellivision 2, which I still haven't got fixed. Thin Ice, Tower of Doom, Triple Challenge, Truckin', Tutankhamun, Whitewater, World Cup Soccer, World Series Major League Baseball, Worm Womper, and Zaxxon. Some of these games are not that expensive. Some of them are really expensive. Maybe someday. And would you believe that for the Atari 7800, I also only have 33 games. That's it, just 33, just like the Intellivision. Left to buy for a completed collection. And I don't even have that many Atari 7800 games. Well, I have a few. Aces of Aces, Alien Brigade, Ball Blazer, Barnyard Blaster, Basketball, Commando, Donkey Kong Jr., Double Dragon, F-18 Hornet, Fatal Run, Fight Night, Akari Warriors, and Possible Mission, Jinx, Kung Fu Master, Mean 18 Golf, Meltdown, Midnight Mutants, Motorcycle, Ninja Golf, Pete Rose Baseball, Planet Smashers, Rampage, Scrapyard Dog, Summer Games, Super Huey, Super Skateboarding, Take Command, Title Match Pro Wrestling, Touchdown Football, Tower Toppler, which I do own, but there's something wrong with the cartridge. It won't play right. Water Ski, and Xenophobe. Of these games, which one do I want the most? I don't know. Not many. Maybe Commando, maybe Double Dragon. You know, I don't know. Kung Fu Master. There's not really that I really want the most. For the Intellivision, I would say the same thing. Commando, Popeye, the ones that aren't really all that expensive. Thin Ice, and a few others that are kind of uncommon but not super rare. This is the Tomy Atomic Pinball. I just showed this picture a second ago. I used to own this as a kid. A few of my fellow retro gamers own this as well. They came across one, and I would like to come across one day. Probably not going to happen in the wild. I'll probably have to get one off eBay and pay $20-30 for it shipped. So that's going to hold off for a while. But I used to have one, used to love it. If I got one, I'd probably have to make sure I got some rechargeable batteries. But I still want one. And this is going to be one huge monster list. And I would rather start in the back and not in the front. So I wanted to show what I really, really wanted first and then go from there. This is all from the handheldmuseum.com. I'll put a link to their site in the description bar because it is the be-all end-all sites if you're looking for handhelds. They have probably every handheld ever known to exist. Just about. And I bet they're pretty damn close. So let's start with the Tomytronic ones I used to own as a kid. Tron. Old school NYC gamer owns one of these. Broken 1394, who seems to have gone into hiding, I think. He hasn't even commented on any of my videos lately, so he must be in hiding. Something must have gone wrong. Maybe his internet went out. I don't know. Used to own this as a kid. I loved it, and I don't know what happened to it, but a lot of my toys just disappeared or got broken or who knows what. and they're kind of expensive on eBay. And Tomitronic Scramble. This one is just as fun as the Tron one. Really is. It's tied up there with just as fun. And it'll also cost you quite a bit on eBay. Hit and Missile. Someone else was showing one of these off recently. Used to own that as a kid. Not as high on my list, but I'd like to have it. Tomitronic Pac-Man. Used to own this too. It's pretty lame for Pac-Man games, but I still loved it and had fun with it. And I'd like to have it again. Blip. Low on my list, but I used to own it as a kid and wouldn't mind having it. It's pretty cool. And the Coleco ones. I don't own none of these Coleco stand-up ones. I was just going to show them off anyway. Zaxxon, Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man. Owning these would be cool, but they're hard to find. Here's some other ones. Coleco Head-to-Head Soccer. Coleco Head-to-Head Hockey. I wouldn't mind owning any of these. Coleco Head-to-Head Football. Boxing Head-to-Head. But a lot of these you've probably never seen before. Head-to-Head Basketball. I own this one, but I just thought I'd show it anyway. One of the few I do own. And this is just electronic quarterback. Here's your Galaxian, Frogger. These are all still Coleco. Donkey Kong Jr. Interesting. Donkey Kong. Ski Slalom, which is almost the reverse of Auto Race. It even says so in the instructions. It's simply Auto Race reversed. You have to pass the blips heading in the bottom to the bottom of the screen instead of the top. Otherwise, it's exactly the same. And it's primarily released in the foreign non-US markets, so it's even more rare. Here, I'll skip around and show you Auto Race, which I do own. See, it's pretty much the opposite of that. And here's Mattel Basketball, Mattel Bowling. Interesting one. Mattel Football. Mattel Football 2. Mattel Hockey. Man, I would love to have any of these. It'd be so awesome. Mattel Soccer. And we're pretty much down to the end, but this site is huge. If I go up to see the list here, back to home page, and this is just the brand names. From Acclaim, Atari, Bandai, Casio even, Coleco, Commodore. Commodore spelled different, I don't think it's the same Commodore. Galoob, Grandstand. Grandstand, if I remember correctly, is the foreign release of a lot of those ones. Like Tron, Tommy's Tron. They released it as Grandstand. I'm pretty sure it would work over here if you just use the batteries. It probably wouldn't work if you had to plug it into the wall. I'm not so sure about that. Maybe it's the same internal. I do not know. But Grandstand did a few of them that were the foreign releases, I think. At least one or two, I think. If not more, I don't know. I'm going to talk out my ass now. Konami's on here. Parker Brothers. Milton Bradley. Everything. Everything you'd ever thought of. See, let's look up Parker Brothers, and they even got Nintendo Game & Watch in here. Milton Bradley. Parker Brothers, we got the Merlin. I would like to have the Merlin. That would be cool. Never owned a Merlin. Always wanted one when I was a kid. There's a Q*bert. Oh, they have a Q*bert stand up there. Cool. Ghostbusters. Oh, it's just a game. Yeah, I went from my want list to showing you even more. Let's see what we got here. Ooh, Battleship. That's a handheld too. Simon. The original Simon. I used to have one of those too. And I had all kinds of good toys that just disappeared over the years. Who knows what happened to them, but they just got broken or whatever. See what Kenner has. And for other systems, I'm not really sure what I want for other systems. Super Nintendo, I think I want, that was me cracking my knuckles. Super Punch-Out comes to mind. Actually, I'm not sure what else I want for the Super Nintendo. Genesis, I pretty much have every game that I ever had back in the day, except for maybe one or two. There's other great Genesis games out there, but every time I see a Genesis or NES game out there that looks awesome, I forget to write it down, and then I forget about it. And then maybe I'll remember it if I see it out in the wild, and maybe I won't. Well, Kenner has some Star Wars one. Star Wars Battle Command. Ooh. Star Wars Laser Battle. Star Wars... Oh, starting lineup Talking Baseball. Ooh. For the other systems, the same thing. ColecoVision, pretty much any game that I don't already own, and I don't own a lot of ColecoVision. Do not. Let's see what Atari has. Not much. Cosmos. Whoa. Pro Ball. Atari doesn't have a lot. We'll skip Pro Darts. Space Invaders. I had a handheld Space Invaders. Super Breakout. Interesting stuff here. Touch Me. Atari's first and only released handheld game. This is a handheld version of Atari's Touch Me arcade game, which was released in 1974. And it's the game that Milton Bradley got the idea for Simon from. It's the exact same game, just bigger. Touch Me. How smart, huh? And Tronic 2, no picture. Oh, there's the picture, loading slow. I have a couple more minutes, so we're just going to goof around here. Tandy? Oh boy, Tandy has a lot of stuff here. Probably a lot of it's LCD. I bet you if I click on one of these. Let's click on King Kong. Kind of LCD. Yeah, they're all LCDs. I'm not as big as I'm not big a fan on LCDs because I know there's a Burger Time LCD, and it's not really high on my list anymore because it just doesn't. I'm not big on those. What does Galoob have? Not much. Baseball. Ugh, that's kind of rough looking. Football. Interesting. Sears has some, we'll just do this the last one. Sears has some big funky ones. Like this one here. The old Sears driving game. Don't think I owned it, but it looks pretty darn cool. Man, I'd like to have any of these. Even the ones that weren't really on my list. Electronic football. Sears Electronic Touchdown, licensed from Coleco. So it's Coleco's Sears version. Sears was even doing these. Not only were they doing the telegames, they were doing rip-offs of the major ones. Yeah. What do you know? Well, we're at 14 minutes. I better stop here. My wish list is way too long, and this is probably barely half of it. I'm telling you, because I would like to have the ColecoVision games like, what's that one? I would like to get Turbo with the steering wheel. I know you don't need the steering wheel, but that's a big thing on my want list is Turbo and the steering wheel. So I guess that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching.